Hi, my name is Kristen, and I was thinking today, like, whenever I go into fear or doubt, or I start to worry, I have to remind myself, like, every single place I've ever been in my life, I've weirdly felt divinely guided. And so when I do get into that fear and doubt, it reminds me to take a step back and just allow whatever is going to transform in front of me and rest into it instead of resisting something or fearing something. So I want to tell some stories of just some synchronicities and some divine guidance that's happened in my life that I knew I was supposed to be somewhere, and yet I didn't know how I was going to get there. And so one of them starts with, it was probably like 15, 20 years ago, when the kids were little and it was time for me to go back to work full time. And I remember at the time I was self-employed, I do everything. Just kidding. I was a painter. I did faux finishing, and I did murals and decorating for people. And that way I could stay home with my kids. And it was a really flexible job, and it was very highly creative, so I loved it. But there came a time where we needed more steady income, and we needed benefits. So I knew I needed to go back into full-time work, and what I have done most of my life is fitness directing. So I remember I was faux finishing at this house, and I was doing this big leather wall, and I was painting the wall, and I remember thinking, I am exhausted. Like, I did it every day, like I painted, but it was exhausting, and I would just on this ladder just painting, and all of a sudden I got this inkling. Reach out to Christine. Christine was my boss at the country club where I taught aerobics and did some personal training on the side. So I did that too, in addition to my faux finishing and my mural business. So I was like, oh, that's interesting. So I get off the ladder and I go and I dial Christine's number. And I remember like getting her voice message, and I was like, oh. So I left her a message. Hey, Christine, I was just thinking if you know any fitness director jobs coming up, let me know, because I'm thinking I need to get back into that now. It's time. And I hung up the phone. So I get back up on the ladder and I started painting. And my daughter calls. So I get off the ladder and I answered. She goes, hey, Mom, Christine just called the house and she left a message for you and she wants you to call her. And I'm like, that is so funny. I just was calling her. So I was like, okay. So I called Christine and she's like, hey, Kristen, Desert Highlands is looking for a fitness director, and I thought of you. And I was like, Christine, that is so weird. Like, literally, I just got that message to call you. You were calling me at the same time I was calling you, and I was calling you for this very thing. So thank you. So I went and I applied for the fitness director position at Desert Highland, and I got it. And that was awesome, and loved it. After a couple years of working there, I loved it, but it was an hour away from my home, and my kids were little, and I just was not happy with leaving them. Both my husband and I had to leave early for work, and it just didn't feel right. And I really didn't feel like I was being the best mom I could, and I wanted to work closer to home. So I remember thinking, great, now what do? I've got this great job, what I wanted as this fitness director. So I put it out there. I said, what would I like? I'm like, well, I'd like a job where I get to be home with the kids during school. I go, maybe a PE teacher. This is how my life goes. So I remember I was driving home from work one day, and I stopped by this place called Scottsdale Christian Academy. And I just stopped in and I said, hey, I'd like to apply for a PE position. And they're like, oh, we don't have a PE position open, but you can apply. And I'm like, sure. So I applied. And I drive home, and a week later I get a call, and they're like, hey, we do need a PE teacher position, and we'd love to hire you, interview you. So I got that job. And so I was at this, and I was like, oh, this is a great job. I'm close to home. I get to be home when the kids are home. This is perfect. And I was all excited for the summer, because you get the summers off, right, when you work. And so it was kind of funny, because around March of that year, like I'd almost been there a full year of working as as a PE teacher, I get a call from a friend of mine from Moon Valley Country Club, which is the place that I had taught aerobics and all that stuff forever. And my friend said, hey, can you teach a step class for me tonight? I need to go out of town and I can't find anyone. And I say, oh, I really don't want to. She's like, Kristen, I can't find anyone. Can you do it? I'm like, okay. So I remember that after work that day, I went and I taught a class at the country club. And I remember afterwards, I was just cleaning the windows and I got this download, this feeling of, this is your next place. You're going to be the director here. And I was like, that was weird. And I saw myself there. And I was like, okay, that's weird. So I kind of just tucked that away, went to work the next day. And what I found out was the next week, I think, that the school that I worked at was actually getting rid of half of their staff because they were downsizing. And I was one of them. And so they said, oh, Kristen, we love you so much, but you were the last one that we hired, and you're the first one that we have to let go because it's a pecking order. I said, gosh, I totally understand. They said, but we have this position for you. And I said, well, maybe, let me think about it. No fail. After they told me that, I go home and I get a call from a friend and said, hey, Kristen, you know, there's an opening as a fitness director at the country club at Moon Valley. And I said, are you kidding me? And they said, actually, you'd be perfect for that. And I was like, well, I mean, maybe. And I was still just processing everything. Next thing, I get a call from the actual director at the country club saying, Kristen, I recommended you. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm going to step down. I just want to be a trainer. I recommended you to be the fitness director at the country club. And I said, that is so weird, Scott. His name was Scott, because I said, I just taught a class at the club the other night and I was washing the windows and I felt like I'm going to be the director here again. And he goes, I'm for you. And so I interviewed for the job and got that job. And so I was like, oh, okay. I guess I am on some sort of divine flow. Loved that job. Was there for a long time. Just loved it. At this time, the country club was going through a lot of changes. And they possibly were going to shut their doors just because the water situation was too expensive. And I remember going, great, now what do I do? I love this. It's like right down the street. I could walk to work, you know, and I loved it. I'm doing my passion, and it was perfect. So I was like, okay, God, gosh, now what do I do? I've got to figure out if they close the doors, I don't want to be unemployed. So I started to ask, like, okay, so what do I want to do? Well, I really still do like being available for my kids. That's very important to me. So I kind of put that prayer out there. I said, whatever I do, I want to have flex hours. I want to be available for my kids. No fail, I'm hiking with a friend, and we were hiking, and she said, well, I got to go now. I am on the board of the preschool, and I have to go for this search. We're going to do a search for a new director at the preschool because the old one's quitting. And right when she said that, bonk, I get the download. I said, that's me. And she goes, what are you saying? I go, I don't even know why I'm saying that. I said, that's me. I said, I'm your new director at the preschool. And she started laughing. She goes, that'd be perfect. I said, I don't even know why I'm saying this, but I feel like it's true. I go, I've never run a preschool in my entire life. And she goes, oh my gosh, Kristen, this would be great. And I said, well, whatever. I said, I don't even know why I'm saying this, but you know, the club is kind of on the fritz and they might be closing their doors. This would be perfect. It's in the neighborhood. I could be still close to my kids, get them off to school. And so, no fail. I get that job. And then one more, or two more actually. I'm at that job for a long time, 4 or 5 years, and that's the one I got fired from. And it was very devastating. It was some issues that were out of my control. And so from there, I go and I get hired by the sanctuary, and I had done a video on that as far as 3 people had come into my life and said, Kristen, the sanctuary is hiring for a fitness director, you'd be perfect. And I remember saying, no. Third one came, I said, might as well put my resume in, and I got hired for that. My story for telling this long story is, if you really step back and look at the wonder and mystery of life, and you really step back and look at how, when you followed those intuitions and you were divinely guided, and for me personally, they come in flashes, instances of, hey, call this person, or hey, intuition comes like a flash. I'm going to be the director here, or hey, this is going to happen, or hey, call this person. For me, those are always the times where doors have opened for me, and I am actually listening to God's divine guidance. I don't know how your intuition comes to you, but intuition comes in flashes. In flashes. It's a thump, it's a knowledge, it's a knowing. And so therefore, open your eyes again and start to back off of your brain trying to figure everything out, and start to just ask for guidance and watch and listen for those flashes and act on them, because they probably are going to lead you somewhere amazing. Thank you and have a great day.